All right, that works.
I can go up to like 800% volume on your end.
Good lord, I don't know if you want to hear me that loud, dude.
I don't think anybody wants to hear anybody that loud.
Saying, dude, everyone's in the house of God right now. You would think, and we're going to the house of ramen, dude. 800% volume.
If it helps, you're at 225%.
So let me ask: Are we live right now? Are we?
Oh,
Are
of
we in it
course.
to win it?
Yes, of
Oh,
course.
good lord. Well, I wanted to say thanks to everyone who's joining to hear me today, because that's a
I mean,
blessing and a curse.
by live, I mean we're recording,
Recording.
but
Okay. Yeah, and I'm drinking a Coca-Cola at 10:33 a.m.
oh, I
That's the stress level I'm at.
I got the Red Bulls.
I got coffee.
Well, coffee's kind of the norm, I think, in Red Bulls. I don't know if people really drink pop at 10 a.m.
I mean, it's
Uh,
like it's energy drink with different steps, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's got caffeine. We're all right.
there's usually a line at the Circle K at the Polar Pop machine, so at 6 in the morning. So
That's hilarious.
All right, we are recording on my end. We are backup recording, so we can. I guess
Do
we
the
could start.
thing.
Yeah, just want to verify because we've done episodes where we've recorded everything and nothing
Nothing
got.
was there.
Yeah, nothing at all. And
In there, bro.
because you and Adam are technically on the same channel on this recorder, if you two aren't the same like level, boy, that's impossible to edit. So I think we're
I
okay.
see.
Hello and welcome back to the world's noodliest drifting podcast. I am your host, Joshua Leatherbarrow, and today we have a very fun guest. Introduce yourself real quick.
All right. My name's Squiggly Noodle. It's actually Justin, but everybody calls me Squiggly Noodle or Squigs. Noodle. I hear everything. I'm that guy that everybody seems to want to make a nickname for.
Before we even like get into this, where did that name come from? Like, what is it?
So about 5 years ago, like the pandemic season, I was stuck at home. I was actually over at my parents' house for a while, and I was playing a super toxic game called Rust. Which, if you play
Ooh,
Rust, you know it's awesome, but you know you're in for it when you're playing it. So I was prompted at the beginning, like, what do you want your name to be? So I was just looking up like stupid names, and I just put in Squiggly, and it put a squiggly dot noodle. And for some reason, I seen it. I was like, that's it. That's gonna be it. So my whole thing with Rust was I wasn't gonna play Rust right. I was gonna freestyle rap and play beats through the woods and just run around to the gnarliest bases and see if people would just take me places. And it worked.
I don't, I
It
don't,
really worked.
I don't know what to do with this information right now. I wasn't expecting all that. That's wild.
Listen, listen. So it turned into this whole like war game of people taking me on helicopters, giving me AK-47s just to go be a theme song while they raided little kids. It was great.
Wow.
right on.
I never would have expected, but the name stuck, and I made some YouTube videos and got on all kinds of different discords and things and met a lot of people from it. So I just ran with it.
I thought it had something to do with drifting, to be honest.
No, it just kind of was like ironic, I guess, that it turned into drifting. Like I was like, well, it could be used for drifting because at that time I was getting a drift car. I just bought one. I really didn't know what I was going to do with drifting. I just knew that I knew the community. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to achieve it yet. So I was like, it'll work for this and that. And then at the same time, really blow you guys' mind. I was really into the quests when they first came out, and I was kind of a nerd for this. I seen a TikTok video of a guy meeting somebody who was getting paid by Meta Horizon to basically be a guide, and I wanted to meet this guy. I was like, dude, this guy's getting paid, so I got to go see where this guy's at. And then he pointed me in the direction of the guy from TikTok. So from there, I found there was rap studios, right? So I went and I started rapping in the metaverse. So I made a whole mixtape called Cold Ramen, which don't play it around your parents. Don't play it around. Don't play it at all. To be honest, if you really want your mind blown, SoundCloud rappers day and age 2020. Squiggly Noodle was a rapper. He was a Rust player. He was a drifter. He kind of did a whole thing, and that's kind of where it all just collided as a trio. And then there was Squiggly Noodle, the track builder. So it just was a brand that I didn't expect, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
All right, before we continue, though, Adam, introduce yourself because kind of left you out.
Oh, that's all right.
Big Burger.
I'm Adam Bergener.
Who are you waving to?
You guys.
Bro, we see you.
Just you guys.
Yeah, we ain't recording anything, like, video-wise.
Just a habit.
I've noticed. You've done it almost every time we've done this.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh, so this isn't going out to the world. I don't got to worry about people seeing me.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, we could change this.
See, when we started this, we did, like, record video for every episode, but, like, those videos got, like, 4 views. So it's like, why are we doing that? And, like, podcasts are meant to be, listened to, so why?
Right on. Well, back to Adam, dude. Let's go back to Adam.
I'm just the co-host, man. I'm just here to back up some questions. Yeah.
You guys can see my cat. Say hi to my cat.
Hi, kitty.
All right, Bernard,
kitty.
you got a skadoodle. Sorry, bud. Back onto the table.
I have a cat right here.
Jeez. We've gotten almost nowhere. Sorry for the people listening. I'm not cutting any of that out. So.
Yeah. I went a little long, so let's get right into it.
Long is better. I guess. I don't know. I'm rambling. Because people who have clicked on this video know that we are mainly going to talk about Pittrace.
Yes.
Because that's near and dear to you. And if anybody's going to have any information about it, it's most likely going to be you.
Well, I mean, to be quite frank, I know about as much as you guys. And I know that's super disappointing, but I've reached out to my friends, my coworkers. I mean, I'd call them my friends at this point. I worked with them for a better part of a decade, so I reached out to every one of them. I've even reached out to Kathy Stout herself just to like say thank you for everything, just to see where they were heading. And I didn't get much information. They got a thank you back for being who I was at the place, and everyone's kind of lost. There's the SavePitRace.org guys, which good thing on them. They're doing something that nobody else is. They're at least investigating. I think they're trying to. Don't quote me on any of this because I'm not part of their group. I haven't been to a single borough meeting yet or any of that type of thing. Like, for me, I kind of accepted the fate of Pittrace, knowing how politics work and money travels and everything. I've kind of just given up on knowing that that's going to be a racetrack. To be honest, and I'll get back to the other side of this, to be honest, I think that the racetrack itself was already in bankruptcy in 2011. And Jim and Kathy bought it and saved it then. And the fact that it ran as far as it did, that kind of speaks volumes for it. A lot of people would call me a sympathizer. I'm not really sympathizing because it still sucks. We lost our racetrack. But from everybody I talked to, everybody that would know something, we're all kind of lost. But the SavePitRace.org guys, they seem to be spearheading a pretty straightforward, and I don't want to say an investigation, but they want to know what's going on. They're trying to go and flood these borough meetings and ask questions, the hard ones, and they're not getting any answers. So it's kind of raising some red flags too. So we'll see what they come up with. But, as far as where the track's heading, what's going in there, there's been speculation, data centers, you guys all know.
Yeah.
I don't really know. It sounds grim, but I honestly don't know. I think that it may be leveled at some point and we never get to see a track again. Or if these guys from pitrace.org are raising money to get a lawyer, that somebody that actually knows, where to ask and who to ask questions to see what's going on. Maybe that's the best choice at the moment. Not to plug those guys because, like I said, I'm not part of it. But if they're looking to hire some type of legal representation to find out what's going on, that may be the best course of action, dude. So who knows? I would love that place to keep rolling. I love that skid pad. It's like sandpaper on our damn tires, but I'll spend tire money all day to go out there and rip that place. I love that place. I met so many good people. So, I mean, what do you guys think? What is the word out in your communities? You're kind of far out.
See, yeah, we're hearing data center and sold for an insane amount of money. And how much of that is like really true? And like, obviously, yeah, they're selling to somebody for something that's not going to make it a track.
Do you guys happen to know the history of, the owners of the track? Like, you guys know they own a pet company and basically already have race cars under that, pet name and everything. So, I mean, they basically bought the track as a hobby. They were owners of VIR for a long time.
Yeah, which they just sold their part in.
They did, and they were kind of proud. Like, they always told us to, like, hey, just let people know that we sold that. So I don't know how the trust was between them, not to put any words in any of their mouths. But, from when I worked there, it was kind of a, hey, they liked the place, they owned it, but they kind of wanted out of that as well. So I don't know. Owning a racetrack's kind of expensive. Being there, you see all the, you hear the word ROI a lot when you're around stuff like this, because pavement doesn't really bring you money unless you're using it in a certain aspect. Like a racetrack, right? You could charge big money to go around the track, but a skid pad's a small piece of a pie in the scheme of things, when you're looking at trying to bring your money back. But I don't know. I really think that it's going to be a while before anybody knows what's really going to happen. I think it's going to be over winter, probably in the next, like, by the time our depression kicks in, we're going to be reminded heavily that something's going to be moving. Like when our schedule is supposed to come out for Clubloose, I think is when we're going to see movement, at least in the next phase of what's going to happen. And that's going to be, the jar opening for us. And we get a big smell of the shit.
I do agree, though. I do agree.
I'm a really diplomatic guy with my words, if you can't see that already. But.
Yeah, and that's okay. Are you for it being, I mean, you're not for it being sold, but like there's people out there like actively trying to fight this sale. And do you think there's any ground for them to stand on? Like,
I mean, everyone's entitled to rights, I guess, right? Like that's a tough one for me because I'm not like a lawyer, or I'm not real big into the local law, and I don't want to say that these guys are fighting a private sale and trying to find some type of loophole to get the track to essentially be abandoned until somebody else could acquire it, like kind of put someone in a corner. I don't know if that's the actual goal, but I don't know. Either way, I think it's kind of crazy to think that the track has been here and it's been a part of. We're a very small group, right? Like when we look at drifting, there's other groups out there that have been coming for a long time that are affected by this. You guys are a couple hours, I think, away from where Pittrace is, and there's people that come from states, and there's people that keep their cars here and fly in just to go to Pittrace. It was kind of a destination track in the making. So I don't know, man. I think a lot of people are going to be doing their own due diligence, and I think we know a little bit about our local community doing it, but I think there's probably some pretty wealthy guys out there that, don't want to see this place go either, which I support you guys. If any of you guys listen, like, buy that place, figure out how to get it, make it a racetrack. If you want an IT guy or just the marketing guy, hit me up. But on a serious note, I think it'd be incredible to keep that place around because it's just cool. Like, all the connections that have been made. I watched a lot of kids grow up and their parents spend a lot of time out there, and I watched people be mentored, and people become adults and professionals from going to the racetrack. And the fact that we had one so close to us and it's kind of evaporating before our eyes, and let's be honest. If we would have known this was happening, we'd have probably all got a lot more laps this year.
Oh,
From
absolutely.
every standpoint. All the newbies that asked me that I didn't brush you guys off. I promise. It was just this year wasn't it. I didn't think that this was going to be it. If it was, you could have crashed my car for all I cared, and I'd have been still screaming Clubloose too at the end of the year. So, but I think there's going to be some brighter things in the future. From what I was told and what I know from the people that worked at the track and some of my friends, like shout out Ryan, Ryan Heiler. I don't like to name drop, but he's an awesome dude. He took over some of the programs, took over my job when I left. So he kind of carried the torch, and he didn't want to see Pittrace die. And he knows some people that were coming there in the end that wanted to purchase the place, and it just didn't work out for them because the deal was already done. So it's one of those things that people have tried. I don't think people realize that. I think people have tried to get this track that could afford it, and it's not in the cards. So I don't know. It's a sad case of 2025 was a really crazy year, and this just kind of throws it in there. Who would have thought that Spec 3 Racing would make a bathroom post of the greatest bathrooms over in the racetracks in America, and Pittrace lies on number one.
They do have some nice bathrooms.
It's just hilarious to me, the money that we watched be pour into such an amazing facility. And like the staff were always pretty awesome. We always had good barbecue. Anytime you needed something, you could go and find something there. So it wasn't like a failing racetrack by any sorts. When you go to a lot of tracks, you see things that are just dilapidated, paint's missing, things like that. And that just wasn't Pittrace, man. We used to say, like, we are Pittrace. It was kind of cringy when I first started and we worked in the trailer, but that place was a community of people that really they liked racing. There was only a handful of racers that worked there. But people that really worked there, they didn't want to see that place fail. It kind of felt like it was your home and you were doing the best to make it the coolest place you could.
That's awesome. I've been going there since like 2006. So
yeah, so you've seen the changes.
Yeah, I've seen the changes. It's wild to see, and now it's gone.
I've had high school friends that have done like their senior projects up there. They used to do time attacks where you could drive half the track and do only certain turns, and you could go up there on a Thursday night. I can't remember what it was because I kind of came in late in the game, and I'm not afraid to admit that, but I was probably 2010-ish is when I started to learn about Beaver Run, Pittrace, and I didn't get up there until probably 2013 when I first seen drifting. And a guy named Jason Stratniks took me for his first drift car ride ever, and I was like hooked on. I need to go.
I
need to do this. He was a super cool dude. If he's still doing the thing, dude, I appreciate you taking me for a ride, but I'm also mad at you because I spent a lot of money over the years.
Yeah, I think he stopped driving.
Yeah, he drove a Z, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did. It was super cool. I remember they used to line up like, we're kind of spoiled. People don't realize some of the things that, the changes. Wagner could tell you some of the coolest changes about Pittrace over the years. You used to line up like the road you walk up to go to Dave's Barbecue. That was the line for running down to the VDA. The VDA was about, and I say VDA because Pittrace calls it the vehicle dynamics area. Everyone knows it as the skid pad, but over the years it's been the VDA. So I'm sorry if I say that, but the skid pad essentially was like 3/4 smaller. So it was like 3 turns and you were done up there. You got like one good run up, you got to figure out the car, and it was like, oh, shut it down. So this was before angle and everything else. So it's greatly expanded. It's huge now. It's crazy that it's at the size that it is, and we were able to hold 175 cars at this last event. Amazing to think that that's where it was at, but 20 years will do that to you, I guess, of money and expansion and interest in this sport. Fastest growing thing we've seen.
Yeah, definitely.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So you worked at Pittrace, right?
Correct. 8 years almost. I almost made 8 years. Yep.
Talk about that real quick. Well, what'd you do? What'd you see?
Over the years, it was I started out as just an IT. Well, I applied to be an IT guy, I guess. I was just kind of looking for a job at the moment. I was leaving Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I was just like, I want to do something cool. Some kid that I knew, his name was Zach. I can't remember his last name, but we called him Little Zach. And he used to always hit me up on Facebook, and he said, "Hey, we have a job opening." So I just applied, and they called me like 3 different times and asked me IT questions. So I was like, "Are they just trying to get free IT work out of me for a while?" And I was like, "Can I come in for an interview or what?" Shout out to Brenda for finally bringing me in. And I didn't know Kathy owned it at first, so I had my second interview. She came in, introduced herself, and just was sat in. And then she introduced herself as the owner. I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." So they originally hired me just to put in some IP speakers because they wanted to do a PA system, and I had a couple bids for them and everything. And we went with this PA system that was IP based. So started the whole journey of being an IT guy there. And they seen that I could do that, and I just kind of enveloped into managing the entire facility. They didn't have any, real managed switches or basically like any enterprise level. They were operating as a small business instead of a large business that was growing. So, had a good buddy of mine and also a drifter, Joe Burnsworth. He helped me with a company, Ideal Integrations, that basically started this whole friendship and dynamic growth of the infrastructure of Pittrace. So we were able to get everything tied together building wise and talking and make it more of a a point of sale place instead of you just go pay a girl $10 with a Stripe credit card swiper at the front gate. We kind of turned it into they had a point of sale, they had access points and Wi-Fi, and that kind of was the beginning of my journey there. And they just kept seeing that I wanted to do more, and I worked with some really cool dudes that came out of the ski industry at the time. They were Aaron and Dave. Dave's still there. He's the sales guy. Aaron was the operations manager, which he was one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. Taught me a lot about life, just the way things were with racing, because he's been around it. He and Jim and Kathy worked with and I'm rambling, so if you need me to slow down, let me know. But
No, keep it up.
Aaron worked with a group that Jim and Kathy owned prior to Pittrace called NARA. It was NARRA, and it was their own like road racing association. So Aaron had a crazy amount of experience with just like stewarding, seeing like pit lane, how everything just works as an organization. So he brought those skills to Pittrace, and that's kind of when I think between me coming in, Brenda, who was there, Dave, who was like Aaron's best friend at the time, like, and still is, I do believe, like, those guys, we kind of became like this little unit of, we all just pitched in, held our weight. And then there were some other people that came in, like Sarah, who's marketing, and like Dominic, who was the marketing director. I could drop all these guys because they're really amazing people that built Pittrace. Like, from a little trailer that was sitting on the side of the road, we basically created all these programs that turned into what you guys see today. It was little staff meetings, and every Tuesday we got together trying to figure out what lunch we were going to get. And by the time we sat down, we all kind of had little pieces of a pie to bring in. And, Kathy and Jim all obviously had the final words of things, and they've always brought awesome ideas, but we've always had some way to like, oh, this is the program that you guys had. Here's how we could expand on it. But like, then there wasn't so much documentation, and we created the beginning. Aaron and Brenda and Dave, especially with like Dom's help and all them. A lot of documentation came together, and like we hired an HR girl who came in, Sky, who helped kind of tailor the back end, which really shaped everything. Cause like we would do all the in-house work and then send it out, and Kathy would validate it and stuff. So it was a really good system that we had to basically build a program up. Like, and we wanted to grow our internals, but we grew the outside ones, and it helped grow our internal programs. So we trained the police up there for years. We used a lot of our resources wisely to get where they needed to be. And it was kind of cool to just see how rapid it turned once we kept growing with more people that came in. Like, the gate was the hardest thing to basically efficiently manage, as you guys still seen all the way up till the end here.
Yeah.
The only thing we could have really done different was pave more road and make a different gate scenario, but it worked for what we did. But as far as like our marketing tactics and all that, we just always did the Pittsburgh International car show every year and just set up a booth and word of mouth, and it seemed to work out as like growth kept going. More organizations came in, people were interested, and the place became less beaver running, because you'd have people stop in and be like, is this beaver run? And we're like, well, it was. Now it's Pittrace. And I think it took about 4 to 5 years, and it really started to stick around. People will still be buttheads and say beaver run, but like, more power to them. If you got a lap at the Beeve back in the day, you were living your life, dude. People will tell you that. Like, that place was really cool. Like,
yep.
The go-karts were the coolest times back there. The people that just hung out back in those days were like just truly rad people. They would help you out. There was a lot of fun things that happened after hours, and it was just a different vibe. Pittrace became more of a corporate vibe, but brought more of a destination, like Watkins Glen type VIR type feel that you could bring your family to.
Yeah, it's definitely like a top tier facility. Because have you ever been to Gingerman Raceway?
I've not been out there. I've heard a lot about it though.
It's like racetrack and then like nothing. There's nothing extra. Like, you're parking in like the mud, and like it's just gross, and then not doing anything to like pave or anything. It's just a terrible, terrible facility. But like, it's a world class like racetrack, but they're not doing anything.
People say that about Mid Ohio too. Unfortunately, it gets kind of a bad rap for. They say you could smell their bathrooms from a mile away, but like, I was just out there this past season, and I thought Mid Ohio was actually a really nice place. It seemed like they were cleaning up and things were pretty good. They had IndyCar out there, and it was super.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on people just stealing stuff? That was
from
pretty,
Pittrace?
Oh yeah, that was pretty huge at the last.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, dude. It's kind of sketchy. It's kind of sad to think that like how fast looting and shit like that can like just erupt. You wouldn't think that it would happen like that, but I don't know. You get people drinking, people get emotional. Look at me, dude. I was a freaking wreck. I could barely drive on Sunday because all I could think about was like, this is the last ride, and like, this is the time I get to hang out with my friends. So like, I don't know. People were different too. There was a lot of walks of life to go to Pittrace, so you gotta have to think about that. I seen some old guys, old people, bro, and sorry to all the old cats out there, but like, old people literally stealing fire extinguishers. Like, what do you need it for? An AED machine went missing. Like, what do you need an AED machine for?
They stole the signs off the bathroom doors.
I'm saying.
Like, what do you need that for?
I've seen people peeling things off doors. I've said stuff to people when I was there, but they don't care. I mean, I have a different kind of pride for it. I didn't have anything, really. Actually, when I left Pittrace, I was kind of bitter. Just because of the way I thought it was going to be a retirement deal, but good thing I left anyway, because look where it turned up. I don't have like really any memorabilia. I have some like business cards and some old things from like old Pittrace days, but I can see why people want some sentimental value things. But stealing's never cool, dude. And when it looks like a whole like end of the world looting session, you should really evaluate your actions.
I agree.
Because like in the pro shop, they were giving away like free stickers and stuff. Like if you want some like Pittrace memorabilia, like they were giving stuff away.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not hard to ask, right? If they say no, then I guess go steal it. Fuck. But I don't want to be that guy if that's what you're going to do anyway, if your intentions are. But go ask for it first. Jesus.
Yeah, when we were in the pro shop, they had to like start making signs and put them on the stuff that they can't sell. Like, no, this TV's not for sale. No, this toolbox isn't for sale. No, the open sign isn't for sale.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of people were just kind of turning a blind eye to things because what are you going to do? Like, I wish I could have got a big chunk of asphalt, but that's the weirdest thing ever. But it'd have been cool to have a piece of, like, the skid pad. Be like, yeah,
I
my
mean,
tire mark's
you
in there.
still can get that.
Oh yeah, I could probably still go up. You know, I could still go see it. They're still open for a little bit of time at least. But um, you know, no, I didn't. I did my fair share of fun stuff up there in the end. You know, I got to do some go karting at the end. Did a big old burnout, which I know John doesn't really like, but I definitely ate the pavement a little bit. So it was a good time. But you know, you asked about working there, dude. As far as like the beginnings, I kind of gave you that, but you know, I got to do a lot of cool things from there. You know, I got to travel a lot with Jim, Kathy, Dave, and them guys to do recon at different tracks to learn like who can we meet in the industry. You know, PRI was a big thing that we did, which you got to meet a lot of cool people from different tracks because you know a lot of people go there for just to see what's new and network, obviously. But you know, they have the racetrack business side where just tracks get together and have they voice their opinions, see like what concerns they have going on at their tracks, and then people try to get together from that have similarities and try to figure out what they did to overcome their problems. And I think we did that with a few tracks, and it worked pretty well. So traveling was cool. You know, I got opportunities like I sim drove a lot. As you guys know, I build sim tracks now, which we could get into later. But
Oh, we will.
that was a big part of Pit Race. You know, when I inherited being an IT guy, because there was a guy, Mike Howe, which is still an awesome dude in my life. I just go karted with him the other day, last week. He was influential because he grew up at Pit Race. Basically, his dad worked there. He worked there as like the grass cutting kid, maintenance kid, and then when he got older, he started to become the IT guy. And he also was timing and scoring for go karting. All the things that I ended up becoming, Mikey essentially taught me a lot of it because he didn't want to do a lot of it, kind of wanted to get out of it and do his own thing. So I took over his role and kind of just expanded on it. And from that, you know, I got into karting. I got into understanding how loops work and you know sectors around tracks and you know making things happen with cameras and you know I walked into the pro shop to fix the point of sale one day and I seen the sim sitting there. I was like, "What is this thing?" And didn't realize that what I didn't even know what a Seto Corsa was. I had no idea. I didn't know how the sim worked. Didn't even know Logitech made wheels, dude. Wasn't that big into the thing. So when I seen it, I just like asked about it. Realized Pit Race was on there, and you know that was kind of the cool part of working there. Was like you walked into a scenario and you may have never done it before, and you were kind of thrown in it. Like training the police. I became a certified motorsports instructor. I had a lot of experience after I learned what the sim was, which we will talk about all this. But I got into the sim and I drove a crap ton of laps at Pit Race, like probably an absurd amount of laps that I was like certifiable as an instructor. So a Porsche day came up where they needed new instructors. So Aaron hit me up, said, "Hey, dude, do you want to try it?" Me and another kid that worked there, his name's Ryan Hubert, super cool dude. He he joined with me. We took this test, got our motorsports license, so that we were basically able to get our hard card to be able to be a Porsche instructor. So first thing Aaron said to me, "Hey, dude, you've never been on the track. Don't tell these guys you only did sim. Just act like you know how to drive." So I'm like, all right, all right. So I played it cool, but the first guy I got in the car with, he already knew. He's like, "You're the sim guy everyone's talking about," and I'm just like, "Oh no, this isn't going to be fun." But ultimately, I took I think like 6 Porsche guys out that day. Porsche, however you want to say it. Very cool dudes. They all gave me really good understandings of things that I could have been doing a little bit better. But ultimately, I became like a certified pit race instructor that day. I was able to go drive people on track, and it kind of put me on a path to buy my own car. I took my E46 out there after that, and I showed a lot of people how to drive fast cars with a slow car, and then they were like, "Wow, this is like this dude's doing it." So, you know, it had a lot of cool things that you would do. Like I said, we trained the police up there a lot, so being around those dudes, you learn a lot of crazy tactics of driving and how those guys think. And we did corporate events, so you're bringing all kinds of corporate clients in and teaching them how to go kart, doing goofy car driving games with them and stuff. So it's like every day was something different. You know, people always thought like working at Pit Race, I was just like, "Oh, I just sit in my office and I work on IT." Like, you know, I would go in and make sure all my stuff was up. And then I basically became the Swiss Army knife for everybody else. I'd go there, check on the mechanics, see if they needed go-kart stuff done, anything and everything. You know, if someone was working on something cool that day, Jim was bringing a cool car in, or the maintenance guys needed unloading, or shit, dude, 6 a.m. in the morning, they're like, hey, we got to go put hay bales out because N2's coming out. I'm there with the old dudes just slinging hay bales, laughing our asses off in the rain. Like, it was just, it didn't feel like a job. And I think a lot of people that work there, if you talk to them, they would say the same thing. Like, it, there's so many people that came and gone from Pittrace from different levels. You know, I was more of an internal figure that stayed for a long time, so it was a little different. But there's corner workers, there's hospitality people, you know, and every one of these people that I've met working there, some of them were goobers, dude. Some of them were some really odd characters, dude. And I'm one myself, but like, you would meet some really wholesome people that still work there possibly today that you would just never think that would be around this area, because a lot of them are all local, you know, and that's, I think, the most hurtful part, you know, coming back to the beginning of Pittrace closing. It's not just a skid pad for us goons out here with V8s and weird cars that we like to do things with. This is like hospitality for people. People bring their friends here from other states to see cool things, right? Like, hey, there's this cool racetrack by my house, like 40 minutes from Pittsburgh. Let's go check it out. Or you and your drunk buddies, which you shouldn't be drinking on carts, but you and your drunk buddies decide, hey, let's go to Pittrace and just drive carts. You know, like, this place gave you an outlet to do things, like, in jobs for a lot of people. So that's what I was getting at with that, is this local community probably had 100 people that worked there over a course of a summer, right? Doing different things, because people wouldn't stay, other people would come in and out. So, you know, that was by their own course of action, but the place really did bring in a lot of resources for people. And I think it promoted a lot, you know, just what a cool environment was just to be up there, dude. I think you guys could even attest to that. You know, if you bring any people out with you, they're like, I would have never guessed this huge 400-acre facility just sits up this little hill, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, since now Pittrace isn't going to be a thing, you were talked to another track to hopefully get Clubloose to 2.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, I don't know how much I could really talk about this just yet, you know, but to kind of give like the run through is, you know, everybody's seen the video of Kyle Wagner and myself driving out at Quaker City. You know, people have seen that I made the sim track for Quaker City. I've been promoting Quaker City quite a bit, but that's because with Pittrace closing, I honestly didn't even know about Quaker City. And shout out to AJ Fox for being the dude, because he legit just was like walking around his backyard and was like, you know what, it'd be cool to put a go-kart track here. You know, like, it'd just be pretty cool. So he decided to put like a whole shifter kart track in his backyard. And now there's a potential, you know, from this year. It opened up in March. We had our first club races. He's had a national race out there, and this is all go-kart based, but he's had the figures out there for potential of having, you know, bikes out there potentially, and drift cars. We tested the skid pad just to see if it was or the skid pad, Jesus. We tested the track out there just to see if you know, it was feasible for one. I think it's about 28 feet wide. I think it's advertised as like 30, but my feet said it was like 28. So I don't know. I might have big feet. I just calculated wrong. But but we were all able to sling the car sideways and like do tandems out there relatively good. Now, with that said, it didn't pull anything up out there. The pavement, asphalt, everything's great. We went off a couple times. It wasn't like anything crazy, but that's 3 cars over a course of probably, we did 15-minute sessions in between. So go-karts went out, and then we went and drove, and then we went out, which that was cool as hell, because the go-karters were like, hey, yo, check this out. Like, this is different, you know? So, and I'll talk about the variations and I think what's going to go on there, but driving out there is awesome. You just have to be very careful. And I think with Clubloose coming out there, it's going to be kind of a different vibe than a lot of people are used to. And I can't speak for this yet because we have not formulated. And Wagner's the guy that runs this, so I'm letting him run it, and I'm helping out a lot. And I think what it's going to become is probably kind of an invite type of thing at first. Get people that we can really trust out there, and kind of vet it. Or if it's not an invite, it's more of a you send us kind of an application, kind of like a Drift Indie thing or an Appalachia thing.
Oh,
Just
I hate
because
that. Ooh.
I think everyone's going to hate that, dude.
Oh.
And I think it's honestly going to be tough in the beginning unless something changes where a skid pad's created out there where we could create some type of growth environment from a C driver into getting on the track, because there are a lot of people. I'll tell you straight up, people always go, oh, Squiggly can drive and all this. Like, yeah, I can drive pretty decent, but even out there's times I went off and you can make some goober moves and screw up. So I tell people all the time, like, I'm just good enough, I would say, to be out there at the moment and still need some laps with the car, the equipment that I have. So low power guys might struggle just a bit. Some of the high power guys, you drop a tire, you could really tear some things up out there. So I think it's more of just a learning curve of we're so used to with Clubloose and the skid pad that everybody's had around here. John has given us an exorbitant amount of F up room. Okay. And he tells us every time. Don't hit those cones, dude. Think of them as a wall. And what do, bro? We go kick cones around and make them chase cones. So I think it's just a different environment, dude. There'll probably be people that they'll put an application in and go, I'm never going to get in. And then they get in. And then they're like, hey, dude, I would have never thought. But I think people will be allowed to try it. I don't think people will be hindered. But I don't think it's just going to be the flood opening and everyone and their mom can just come out. I think that's going to be the problem at first, because we still got to figure out how many cars can you bring? What can you do out there before it becomes a problem? What layout works the best? There's just still a lot of logistics, and not to mention on the go-kart side, he built this for a go-kart track. I don't want to turn his go-kart creation into this drift thing that takes over what he ultimately wants to make it, And if the go-karters don't like the grip that we throw down there, if it screws up something with that could be a factor, and we just end up with a skid pad if he ever wants that out there. Or we may never have anything, and it was just a one-off. So I'm kind of hopeful for that to see how it goes, because it seemed like if we can get a good group of people out there, like our normal, like A-class Clubloose drivers out there, too, like A-class, best behavior. Like, I think that if we do that, it would be substantially easier to just be like, hey, these guys know how to manage this. He doesn't have to think about it so hard, and we could run our events like we have been. I don't know the back end side. There's probably insurance and other things, and we got to talk about and mingle, like rocket power, wiggity, 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 figure that stuff out. But I think once that's all hemmed out, dude, we may have a pretty cool spot out there. The track flow is awesome. Not going to lie. If you haven't checked it out, again, plug my sim, squigglynoodle.com. It's on there. Download Quaker City. Get some laps in. See if it works for you. But, yeah, that's a potential, dude. It'd be really cool to see.
That'd be so
dude,
dope.
If he builds a skid pad out there, that place is going to be packed all the time.
To the rafters, dude.
I guarantee we'll have 150 drivers every single event.
He is going to have a little bit more room. It's probably not going to be such a huge skid pad at first. Because right now, too, he's building, again, this is a guy who is, him and his dad, he's our age, my age. I'm 36, so he's about my age. He understands what the community wants, which I think is really cool.
Love that.
He's easy to talk to, which is even better. And he just wants to see the place grow. So who knows, man? If AJ wants to make it something cool, that's what he's going to do. But if it's not what he wants to do, we'll find – Clubloose will always find a home. It's just probably talking to somebody and figuring out where we can get. It may not be where we want, but I would love to see Quaker, because what I was getting at is he's building garages out there right now. I think he's putting 25, like 12 by 20 garages. So, and they're air conditioned. So, I mean, it's not bad, man. I mean, the guy wants to see the place turn into something cool, whether it's go-karts or whatever. So, and I know everyone like I've had a lot of people come to me and go, well, what about autocross and what about this? And I'm sure they've reached out to him, because the moment I tagged AJ in Quaker City in a post on Facebook about the sim, he was like, damn you, Squiggly Noodle, you got me so many stupid Facebook requests from your community. Not that he's mad at you guys, but he was like, the flood that came through was quite immense. And yeah, I don't think you realize how many of us are out here trying to poke the bear to drive that thing. So yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be cool.
Oh, man, you can talk.
I can, dude. I'm stupid.
The thing with this is we're going to force you to do an episode 2 because I'm cutting it here. So
you could also throw this one away if you want, dude, because I could just shorten all this.
Nope.
We're doing a round 2.
Yep, I'm forcing you because we haven't even actually talked about you and your driving.
Dude, there's so much of history in this place. That's why I was so miserable about fucking everything, bro.
So, yeah, we're actually just forcing you to do a second episode.
Well, I hope anybody who's listened isn't, like, bored, because, like, I can ramble, dude. I hate it.
It was good.
No, it was really good. Don't be like that. It's perfect. Because
I appreciate you guys having me on here. At least let me tell the story, dude.
Oh, we're still not done, but we gotta, every episode we end it with questions that our community asks our guest.
Ooh, I like that, dude.
So we're gonna start with those once I roll up to those. One moment. I'm also not gonna edit this out.
My driving. He wants to know about my driving. That's scary.
Yep. All right. First, Greg McCauley asks, Gallo 12 or 24?
Well, I'm kind of thick, dude, so I'm getting 24 slices of pizza. I'm not joking. I'm crushing them.
Timmy Ebert asks, where do babies come from?
I thought storks exist, but I don't know, bro. I know, but I can't tell. It's PG-13 on this podcast.
Oh, that's news to me, but all right.
Ish.
Said ish.
Ish. Oh gosh, here's some fun ones. Bryce Lucarelli asks, how big is it and how much does it cost to see?
I just bought a new domain name, Fans Only. You could check it out there. It's probably gonna be about $35 a month. There'll probably be some freebies, and some other things. Fans Only.
Jesus Christ.
It's faux, because he could be my enemy. You just want to check me out naked.
Oh gosh. This isn't a question, but Aaron Lyon says, one of my favorite people.
I appreciate that. I love Aaron Lyons. That dude's one of my favorite people.
He's a good dude.
One of those dudes. He's one of those dudes, and I think you guys can attest to this, that if you know him, you could go like days, weeks, months not seeing him, and then when you see him, it's like he's never left.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. Such a good dude.
Nathan Sell asks, what's it like being the squiggliest of noodles?
If you guys... This is the best way I can explain it, dude. You ever seen that SpongeBob episode where Squidward just goes all ham, dude? He gets all squiggly. That's what it's like some days, bro. I just don't know what to do with myself.
Oh gosh. There's a part 2, and he asks, also favorite memory at Pitt.
I got a bunch of them, but I think one of the funnier ones was we were filming for Moto America. It's a bike event. And I was told to push this porta potty with Ryan, and apparently we were on TV pushing the porta potty, and it they clipped out for a second, but we didn't realize there was a dude in the porta potty. They were just like, we got to get that out of the shot. So we talked about that and laughed for a good while at the staff meeting. Kathy kind of gave me props on that, but it was more Ryan helping me push it. And the guy just like jumped out real quick, and we were like, "Sorry, dude, we just got to get this out of the way."
Oh gosh. Oh.
I got more, but that's a good one.
No, that's perfect. Ben Bruno asks, when will you return to Lake Erie Speedway? Or will you?
Part 2 is probably one I'll plug for some sponsors, but I don't know. It seems like things are on the up and up for the nudes, man. I'm hoping to have a white car built this year. I have a white E36 that I've been sitting on for a while, so hopefully getting that thing out and running, and I should make a triumphant return back to less this year, dude. 2026.
Good.
I'm going to chase somebody with some thicker tires and faster speeds. So
Here's a very interesting one. Oh gosh. Evan Bagley asks, does he let it crust or is he a wiper?
damn, dude, if you let it crust, I'm going to tell you about yourself. I'm just telling you right now, dude, there's something wrong with you, bro. If you waft when you sit down, you're dirty. Wipe your shit.
God, what
Bidet your shit, Evan. Bidet it.
Oh, God.
I'm a believer in the bidet too.
Listen, you should have a clean butt.
Always. Oh gosh. Oh. Jacob Schuster, we're not going to answer your question because we answered that in the first part. His question was just your take on the closure of Pittrace. We've already
Sucks.
Yep. Andrew Falk asks, do you think there's a possible chance of the data center only using part of the land and possibly opening the main track in the future?
Nope, but there is an Assetto map that'll be a data center. Don't you worry, buddy.
Oh gosh.
You get to drive up Pendale. Who hasn't wanted to drift that shit?
Oh gosh. Shane McGonan? Sure. Would you rather
That's my dude.
Would you rather fight one meth head sized chicken or 10 chicken sized meth heads?
Ooh, dude. It'd be cool to kick the shit out of little meth heads, bro. Just kick on them, dude. It'd be kind of funny. I ain't gonna lie. It's like Breaking Bad on a whole different level.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh.
A big chicken's kind of scary, I ain't gonna lie.
It's like an ostrich. Off-season plans for the E36, he also asks.
The black one, ruby red one, whatever color you see it in the sun. Not a whole lot. Thing's just probably going to get tightened up, make sure nothing's loose, and that thing's going to drive until it blows up. The white car, hopefully a little bit of turb ski action. It's got a full front subframe dropout that JP from Asphalt Cowboys hooked me up with like a year or so ago. So I got all the stuff done to that car already. Just going to put some bushings in it, turbo it up, and make it a race car, hopefully.
That's good. That's good. He has a third question, and he asks, even if the sale gets interrupted, do you think the owners will open the doors back up or keep the gates shut?
Nah, they hate us.
No,
they don't.
Oh, gosh. And that looks like that's it. Before we disconnect here, is there anything you'd like to plug or talk about or yell at us?
No, I should have slowed down. I was talking a lot. I was rambling. The next one, I'll give you guys short and stout answers. No pun intended.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, dude, I was still tired. I was still waking up, and I had devil's lettuce in my cup, so... Yeah, the next one will be a little bit more on point, man. We'll keep it a little sweet and short for everybody, so that way it's a little bit more intriguing.
No, so it's very informational to the people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you want to know my tire size, you can go to fansonly.com.
All right, thank you for watching. I am your host, Josh. Adam is an idiot, and Justin, thank you.
Noodle.
Justin, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you guys. Hope everyone has a good day, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yes, and goodbye.